This recording is part one of the MIDAS Mission 2.0 seminar meeting held on July 13th, 2015. Mission 2.0 is the organization within the MIDAS Research Network for training of developers and customers on topics related to productization of software. The Mission 2.0 seminars are monthly informal events intended to educate and stimulate conversation amongst members. To become a member of Mission 2.0 and stay informed of all of our activities and events, send an email to the address listed at the bottom of the screen. Our speaker for the seminar was Dr. Jeremy Espino, Senior Research Scientist in the Department of Biomedical Informatics at the University of Pittsburgh and co-primary investigator of the MIDAS Informatics Services Group. Dr. Espino's seminar is about the Apollo Location Services, a tool being developed by the Informatics Services Group, providing a web service solution to the definition of geographic location.
So an outline of my talk, first I'll describe what is the Apollo Location Service. Then I will walk through how you utilize the location service. First of all, browsing the service. Second, creating an epidemic zone. And then third, how you can use So the Apollo Location Service is a temporally coherent database of geographic locations. It contains geopolitical, administrative, and epidemic boundaries, and contains a mapping of place name codes, for example, ISO codes, to other codes like FIPS and Apollo Location Service IDs. We built the Apollo Location Service based on several user stories. So as a field epidemiologist, I need a unique ID for a location I am investigating so that I can concisely describe the location. As a model developer, I need unique IDs to reference locations in my model so that my model can be compared against the results of other models. As a developer, I need to map existing location codes to a different set of location codes, like I mentioned, ISO and FIPS. Finally, as an application developer, I need a system that provides geometry representations of epidemic locations. So in the Apollo Location Service, this isn't appearing, we have loaded the service with many different locations from available resources. For example, schools, county, provinces, districts, municipalities, departments, where available. We also have in there census tracts, PUMAs, local authority, states, countries. Those are the ones in black that aren't showing up. So using the Apollo.
Jeremy, this is Sean. I had a question about your about something.
Sure.
So could you expound a little bit on what it means to have geometry information?
Okay.
I know that I mean, it's a strength of the service to be flexible. That you have, what that means.
Okay. So in a system that represents geographic information, we of course can store information like the name of the place or the code for the place. But along with that, to generate the maps are the latitude and longitude for example, location, or the coordinates of a polygon that represents the boundary of a location. In general, we call these geometries, points, polygons that represent areas and specific points in the world. So that's what I mean by geometry. And in the Apollo Location Service, you can get a data structure that represents this geometry from the system, directly from the browser or via API, so that you can use these geometries in your applications. So let's say you wanted, hey, I want to make a map of Florida. So then you can get the latitude and longitude coordinates of the outline of Florida. Thanks, Sean.
Yeah, thank you.
So what I'm going to do next is work through a user manual that we created. Let me post this link so that you can follow along. So in your chat window, I posted 2 links. One is the presentation that I'm displaying right now, and the second one is the user manual. So you can go ahead and go to the user manual, and I'm going to follow the user manual as to the examples that I'm providing you. And this will give you a good overview of the service, what you can do with it, and the features. One thing I'll note is that this user manual is online. It's because it's online, we can always keep it up to date. You'll always have the newest version if you're looking at it through this link. It also, because it's a Google document, I've allowed for users to make suggest comments and changes on the document. So if you see an error or a bug, go ahead, type it into the user guide and share it with everyone so that they either have more information about the service or can say, hey, this doesn't work and here's a workaround for it. So it's publicly commentable. So I see right now there are 6 people who are viewing the guide. That's great. So I'm going to start here with browsing locations. So first of all, the URL to browse for locations in the system is listed here, https://betaweb.rods.pitt.edu/ls. So if you're in the user manual, you can directly click on this and get to the Apollo Location Service browser. I'm going to do that here right now. So this is my chance to see if we can crash this system by all of us typing the same thing all at the same time. So the first thing I'd like to show you is how to search by name in the Apollo Locations service browser. So you can simply type in the name of a location. So I'm going to type in here Sudan. And you see that the system has 5 results. When I typed in Sudan, it searches the place names. These are highlighted in blue on the left here. So there's Port Sudan, which are districts in Sudan within the Red Sea. And then there's South Sudan, and then there's Sudan from 2011 onward, and there's Sudan before 2011. The reason why you see 2 Sudans here as countries is that, as I mentioned before, the Apollo Location Service is a temporally coherent database of locations. So we know that the borders of countries will change over time, and that the names of countries will change over time. So we wish to represent this in our database. And along with those changes over time and the changes in borders, we also know that epidemics don't only exist statically in a geographic area. They also have a life that has a start time and then has an end time. So again, the idea of this location service is to present a temporally coherent view of locations in the world. So for example, if you wanted to, you described an epidemic in the Sudan prior to 2011, you would use this version of the location. So when I click on a particular location, it shows you a map of the location and zoomed in. I see that this existed from what we consider the start date in our system to 2011-7/08. In the system, we have a hierarchical relationship for the levels of geography. So sublocations include these areas: Blue Nile, Central Equatoria, Darfur, Eastern Equatoria, etc. And you can click on these and see a sublocation. You'll also notice here that we include other codes for this location. So here we have ISO codes. So ISO has SD if you have the two-letter country code, SDN, and then numeric codes. So you can use the Apollo location service to map between different geography codes, like what we've stored in here, ISO. We also have in here right now FIPS. And then finally, what Sean was talking about before, the availability of the geometries for these locations is also in the system. So let's say I'm a developer who is doing web type development, doing some JavaScript, and I want to get the coordinate outline of the Sudan. I can click on GeoJSON, and these are the latitude, longitude coordinates of the border of Sudan. We also have additional formats. If you are a Google user, you'll appreciate there's a KML format here, which allows you to download it and then show it in Google Earth. And then there's another JSON format that we use in Apollo. It's right here. So this is used in the Apollo library. So if you're familiar with JavaScript or KML, which is an XML specification, you can easily read these border outlines in your application. Okay, I'm going to move on in our user guide to the next section, which is searching by point. So I'll click on Apollo Location Service here. This brings me back to the home screen of the system. So the next thing you can do, besides searching by location name, is by searching by point. So I'm going to zoom into, let's see. I'll zoom into this Miami area, Florida. So what I can do is take this tool, it looks like an upside down drop in black, search via point. I'll click on this. This brings up the click to place search point tool. I'll click it right on top of Miami. So what this did is tell the system, hey, look for all locations where this point is within the boundaries. So we find that there is a census tract. Right now we have the 2010 census tract loaded. We have public use micro area from 2010, Miami-Dade County. We have the Miami-Dade County, Florida, which encompasses Miami, and then we have the country of the United States. So again, anything that surrounds this point, it's going to show me.